How did the cosmos come into being? And how about this if it's difficult to answer? Before our cosmos, what existed? Let's see what scientists have discovered thus far as they attempt to answer the most challenging topic in history. Edwin Hubble is the individual who helped us solve this mystery in the 20th century. He discovered that these sporadic clouds of gas traveling about are actually other galaxies when he pointed his telescope at the sky one day on Mount Wilson in Southern California. And they're in large numbers. In addition, he discovered something else that permanently altered the course of history. They are in motion. You might ask, so what? It meant one very significant thing though. The cosmos is getting bigger. Furthermore, if it's growing, it most likely started someplace. All we need to do now is reverse time to determine the start point. The Big Bang hypothesis required many more years for the scientists to develop into a complete hypothesis, and it's right here. Since neither where nor when existed, nothing has ever been anywhere. Do you understand? Actually though, no. One item was present. It was the so-called cosmic singularity, a highly hot, dense, and extremely small state of our universe. What if the entire world were condensed into a tiny ball? Inside, the temperature and pressure would be quite high. Eventually, it was difficult to resist them, and the Big Bang is about to happen. Everything that we see now was the result of an explosion of matter and energy. Space and time are fundamental physical forces. Quarks were also strewn all over the place. All of these quarks, the minuscule particles that comprise our universe, were boiling in a cosmic soup that was extremely hot. They were drawn to one another by gravity as it cooled. They came together to form atoms, then molecules, and finally stars, the first things in the world. All of this occurred only 12 to 14 billion years ago. Okay, so we now know how the cosmos came into being. But what existed before then? American cosmologist and theoretical physicist Alan Guth has dedicated his life to unraveling this puzzle. Guth discovered various problems with the Big Bang theory after learning about it. For instance, stuff was distributed quite evenly, which is not how it should have been. Let's place a white canvas on the floor and suspend a paint-filled balloon from the ceiling. The balloon will rupture if we drop it, leaving the canvas in complete disorder. Numerous spots strewn about at random. The two are not alike. However, the universe didn't actually appear like that. Let's create a tiny red dot on the canvas, in place of hurling a colored ball from the ceiling. Let's continue to enlarge it over time and record everything frame by frame. A circle will progressively expand in all directions. That's the truth. The early universe was proportionate and extremely even. It was the theory of inflation that Guth discovered. What it says is as follows. Before the Big Bang, there was a force that could accelerate the explosion significantly and instantly and uniformly disperse everything in space. The majority of scientists now rely on Guth's successful theory. This conception of the universe's creation is sufficient for the majority of people. Not for everyone, but for most. According to German physicist Martin Bodivald, the universe was created very differently. Do you recall our discussion about cosmic singularity? The universe was in a state of extreme heat, limitless density, and smallness. Martin's theory stated that the singularity could not have just happened. This is absurd. Then again, where did it originate? Let's examine an antique clock's pendulum. The pendulum swings in both directions. It moves smoothly, continuously, and without interruption. We typically perceived, despite its seeming rationality, this theory is far from comprehensive. Regretfully, we lack the information necessary to locate all of the supporting evidence. Thus, all of this is merely a theory at this time. However, other people have even more bizarre views. Scientists spread such bizarre theories that no one could possibly come up with. South African physicist Neil Turok and his American theoretical physicist colleague Paul Steinhardt search for solutions that extend much beyond our cosmos. Indeed, they argue, our cosmos is not the first. They have existed and will continue to exist indefinitely. Furthermore, our universe is merely one among an infinite number of universes, and there will be an unending number of Big Bangs. Additionally, we are all caught in a never-ending loop of parallel world rebirths. At the same time, this sounds amazing and terrifying. However, how does it operate? This idea holds that our cosmos is housed inside a membrane that is referred to as a brain. To put it another way, we're trapped in an elastic surface that can oscillate, stretch, contract, and so forth. These parallel universes are situated close to one another, like strands of cloth on a rope. Everybody has neighbors. We are not an anomaly. We cannot see another universe, even when it is only a few inches away. The reason for this is because there is a very small gap between us. and the fourth dimension is contained in this small area. What is the origin of these universes? Through a collision of the brain. Slowly but surely, these brains are moving closer to one another until they eventually meet. Two parallel worlds and two big bangs are produced by their collision. After that, they start to move apart. The worlds that were constructed are still alive. This is where we are at the moment. However, the brains clash once more after they vanish, and a new universe will be created as a result. Do you recall the theory of inflation? The Big Bang was pushed and accelerated by an enigmatic force. Well, everything would make sense if we really collide with another universe. Naturally, all of the information presented here is greatly simplified. It sounds like total foolishness to be told that our planet is only a piece of cloth on a rope. However, the foundation of this concept is M-theory and string theory, two titans of quantum physics. They could account for nearly everything in our cosmos if they prove to be accurate. The process of formulating a hypothesis is enormous. Numerous non-working hypotheses were swept away by Turok and Steinhardt's massive computations. In order to do this, they must also think in 11 dimensions simultaneously, surpassing the limitations of the human intellect. Regretfully, this brilliant and bizarre concept was ridiculed. According to Turok and Steinhardt, scientists are just like everyone else. They also fear the unknown and change, and questioning everything we used to believe in is incredibly frightening. The Earth was not thought to be spherical many years ago. The Big Bang idea, then, infuriated them. Without anxiety and difficulty, we cannot produce discoveries. Turok and Steinhardt don't intend to give up so quickly because of this. Ultimately, the information we now possess only indicates that all three explanations are equally plausible. Which response is right then? At this point in human development, we might never find out. Unfortunately, we can only speculate as long as we lack proof. Perhaps, however, we will discover something that will finally open our eyes. We might eventually figure out the origin of our cosmos. We're not alone in existence. We never were. Something with godlike powers brought our universe into being. And that means we might not be as insignificant as we thought. Or we might be even more insignificant than we feared. Are we part of some grand plan? Are we being tested? Are we just one universe among billions, created and destroyed for purposes we can't comprehend? The scariest part is that we might never know. The being or beings responsible for our existence might be so far beyond our understanding that we're like ants trying to comprehend nuclear physics. But here's what gives me hope. The fact that we can even ask these questions, that we can discover the artificial nature of our universe's origin, that suggests we're more than just passive creations. We have the spark of whatever consciousness created us. Maybe that's the point. Maybe we're meant to grow, to evolve, to eventually become creators ourselves. Maybe the nothing that birthed our universe is just the first step in a cosmic cycle we're only beginning to understand. So there you have it, the most controversial discovery in human history, hidden from the world because the truth is too dangerous to share. Someone or something created the nothing our universe formed from. We are not accidents. We are not coincidences. We are the deliberate result of an intelligence so vast we can barely comprehend it. The question now is, what are we going to do with this knowledge? Are we going to continue living as if we're alone in an uncaring universe? Or are we going to start preparing for the moment when we meet our creators? Because mark my words, if they created us once, they know we exist, and eventually, they're going to want to check on their experiment. The only question is, will we be ready? That concludes today. So, if your curiosity has been satisfied, please like and share the video with your friends, or simply click on these videos and stick around if you want more.